Hello, my name is Russell Myers, independent for U.S. President for 2024. So, there is always discussion of women's rights from the executive and legislative branches of our government, yet there has been literally no forward movement regarding women's rights since equal pay was enacted legislatively back in the 1960s. We all know how that has turned out. I guess some people may call it an advancement to allow women in military combat roles and approving women for the draft, which happened in June of 2016. Even as a male, I have been disappointed and disgusted at the lip service given to women's rights over decades while nothing changes. Just more lip service. Women deserve more than this. It's time they got more. The likely repeal of Roe v. Wade stands to be a major step backward for women's rights. It is an atrocity, yet is another glaring indication of the sexist oppression which is systemic in the functioning of our government and large segments of our society. The GOP has actively pursued said repeal since 1973, while the Democrats have stood by and done nothing to prevent it. In 49 years since this decision was handed down by the Supreme Court, it has never been codified into law. Now, leaked documents illustrate that a conservative majority SCOTUS has already determined to overturn the 1973 decision. So, as with many of my policy proposals, maybe the tactics we need require a bit more creative approach. I'll get to that in a moment. Many of my policies tend to overlap, offering benefits to women and minorities along with all of society. So let me go through some of these ideas. I have detailed that I am a fervent supporter of universal health care. This is something I would fight for ferociously. Obviously, this is a policy which would benefit all members of society, but especially women, children, and minorities at the lower end of the income scale. I don't feel the need to elaborate on this because the benefits are clear to anyone that is conscious. I have detailed that I am also in favor of universal adult education. In other words, college should be freely available to any adult at no personal expense up to a 4-year degree. Improving purchasing power, as explained in my tax reform and wage reform plans, also go a long way in improving conditions for all Americans in the low and middle income brackets, no matter your race, gender, ethnicity, sexual identity, religion, or ability. Now, let's get to some new ideas that I have not yet detailed. I am an advocate for universal child care. Once again, this would be available to all parents at no personal expense. Such child care would be monitored by professional child care experts on a frequent basis. It would be non-sectarian, meaning having no religious affiliation. Private or religiously affiliated child care would still be available but would not be eligible for public subsidies of any kind. The expense of child care at this time holds many women back from working at all and has an even greater deterring effect on women seeking higher education. In addition, The expense of child care can lead to higher financial insecurity for many families, but especially single parents. Some children may only be able to eat while at daycare and go hungry at night because of the expense of daycare. One policy, which I have not yet detailed, is a needs-based basic income system. Basically, a universal basic income on a graduated basis according to income level. As far as abortion rights, as I said, this may take a creative approach. First of all, I advocate that any male who fathers a child unwanted by the mother be mandated to be proven the biological father by DNA testing. Then they should be required to show up in court, and if no sexual assault is involved, he should be required to adopt the child. If he refuses to adopt the child, he must state a reason why. Then, he should be required to pay child support until the child reaches 18 years old. In addition to basic child support, he should be required to cover all medical, dental, and vision insurance until the child is 18 years old, including paying any deductible involved. In addition to that, he should be required to establish a savings account for college for that child. This can be mandated via direct lien on pay and assets. If a woman desires an abortion but is unable to obtain one due to state laws, that state should be responsible for all medical bills during maternity and recovery period as necessary. If the pregnancy is due to sexual assault, the state must provide psychiatric care for the mother for as long as necessary for the woman to achieve recovery. The state must also provide medical care for the child until age 18, and the state must provide for advanced education for mother and child should she choose to keep that child. The state must provide additional income assistance for mother and child if she is of low income, defined as earning less than $40,000 a year, subject to increase of income baseline according to inflation. If the child is placed for adoption, the state should remain liable for income assistance, medical care, and all college expenses, including books and fees. Keep in mind that it was not the decision of the mother or child for that child to be born. It was the decision of the state, and the state must be held liable. These same standards shall remain in place if the biological father is indigent or incarcerated. If we enact these policies, the forces intent on oppressing women will soon be begging for women to have a voice in their own bodily autonomy. I may add more policies regarding women's rights in the future. Right now, I think this would be a good running start. Thank you for reading or listening. If you agree with my policies, please help my campaign by sharing my articles and videos. Talk to your friends about my campaign in real life. If you can afford it, please donate whatever you can to help expand the campaign. Again, thank you for watching. I hope you have a good day.